Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 2 here of WORC Weekly. My name is Brayson Collins, and I'm joined by Josh Patterson over there on the other screen, my co-host for this thing. I just got home from the Avalanche game. Cale Makar was an absolute beautician. Had a couple Genos, Mika Rantanen, and a few apples. Josh hates me because we've already ran through this multiple times. So after that barn burner of an Avs game, I'm just gonna go hop right into this, Josh. Let's start reviewing past week's races. The Keystone Corner GT3 Challenge wins Daytona, and you were leading entering the bus stop, and suddenly on exit of the bus stop, I was passing you. What happened there, buddy?
Yeah, interesting turn of events. Me and Connor Tafari racing real hard for the lead on the last lap. He had the straight line speed on me all night, but I was getting him in the corners. So he was about half second behind me coming on the straightaway. Caught all the way up, sent a move on my inside. I saw it, tried to react, sent in the bus stop a little too deep, overshot it, and then some contact was made, and I ended up getting the short end of the stick. But it is what it is. Hard racing. Congrats to Trafari on the win. Good racing from everyone involved there. Live, it was really fun to race against. But yeah, I think I'll have a better shot next week. But yeah, I think some really good racing overall. Top three was Trafari, Gino Mero, and Sky McGirt coming home on the podium. So good races for all of them. The rounding out the top 10 was John Kitazaro, Grayson Collins, myself, Leith Hicks, Ryan Zabot, Nick Pena, and Jared Balkanowski on Sunday's race.
Yeah, that was honestly the oval race was my least favorite race this week because, and it wasn't honestly that bad of a race compared to other leagues Daytona races, and the fact that we had 45 cars, a full field. We capped it at 45. We had 45 entrants with like 5 minutes left, and I mean somebody else could have joined still.
We're talking about the wrong race here.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know what I'm getting to. Let me
Okay.
speak.
Okay. Okay.
Don't
You
interrupt
do
me.
you, man.
I did the intro, okay? Anyways,
My mistake, bro.
but by no means was the oval race bad. But it was my least favorite race, and honestly, I think the road race might have been my favorite race. I mean, everyone was like really good. There was battles throughout the entire field. I was probably the only person who didn't battle anybody. Somehow I found myself on an island where I was like 10 seconds faster than the guys behind me, but I was 15 seconds slower than the guys in front of me. I don't know what I was doing. I just found myself on an island. Um, but overall, that race was really good. The battle between John, Sky, and Gino was absolutely phenomenal. The pit strategy worked out really well. Even the racing in the sprint race was really good. So honestly, I feel like that Daytona road race was really good. Um, but now hopping into the dirt late model race that you missed, unless you have any further comments about the road race.
No, I agree with you. It's a solid race overall. Great way to start off the season, and I think it brings some momentum to the next races coming up.
Um, so yeah, the dirt late model tour, Limeade Media dirt late model tour. Um, Limeade Media's got some exciting stuff coming up. Beyond the Lights coming out November 20th, 22nd, 24th, 26th on the Limeade Media YouTube channel. Go check it out. That's gonna be awesome. Um, but yeah, the Limeade Media dirt late model tour, man, at Volusia. I know you weren't there. That race was absolutely fun. It's neck and neck with the road race for me, honestly. They were such good races. We have two super long green flag runs of 20 laps apiece, pretty much. We only had three cautions, and one of them came on a restart when the field got stacked up, and nobody really wrecked out. We only had one car DNF that dirt late model feature. We had 26 guys show up, so we had 60 NQs. So it was a really fun night of racing overall. There was a lot of racing to be had. Um, and there was battles throughout the field. The battle for the lead was stiff all the way to the end. The battle for 10th was stiff all the way to the end. And I mean, you had Ryan Martin and Paul Granada absolutely dueling it out for 20th. Um, and honestly, I think my favorite part of the night, which I believe you may have seen a clip of, was Henry Clapper, everyone's favorite admin, absolutely giving no regard to human life, said full send or no send, said what is the brake pedal, and went straight into Bo Krebs and gosh, what's the other guy's name? Jory Nix. They wrecked in the heat race, and Henry said, "Send it, lick the stamp. We're doing it." And he in turn ended up in the catch fence. So yeah, I mean, I know you weren't there, but you've probably seen some highlights. You went through some
I mean,
photos.
I had to watch through the replay for the graphics, so I
Yeah,
did see the race. But
So
yeah,
what are your thoughts on the race? How were things from your perspective?
It definitely would have been fun to kind of be in the action and kind of be there live instead of at school. But yeah, it definitely seemed like a really fun race. Those two really long green flag runs are really good for momentum wise for the season. I know last year we didn't start off great at Charlotte, so it's great to see it turn around like in just one season to what seems like a great opening race. So it gets you really excited for the next week and the rest of the season coming up. But before we move on, I'd like to touch on the finishers. Joe Cease winning that one in the number 50 car, followed by Thomas Vickers and John Canizar running at the podium. Then to complete the top 10 are Blake Murray, Jacob Fields, Bill Powers, Jason Dill, Ryan Zabot, Corey Boonois, and Ian Baker. So good nights for all of them, especially for the top three there.
Yeah, dude, John, thinking about it now, because you mentioned the road results and the dirt oval results, he had two podiums to start the week, and then I think he still got a top 10 in the oval race. John
He
had a
did,
really
yeah.
good week. Um,
Yeah, hopefully that stops. We have a chance.
but yeah, I mean, you have a guy like that starting off really strong, and honestly, we had about half the field that started at Charlotte, but in the 3 seasons we ran dirt late models, we ran supers for the first season at Evolution. That was kind of a meh race, but that was mainly a car count issue. We only had like 13 cars, I think it was, something like that, some
Yeah,
small. So, last season 42 at Charlotte, that was rough. But then when we raced Volusia last season as the championship race, Volusia was really good. I mean, I feel like we had a little too many cautions, but the racing was really good. And then just this past week, I mean, the racing was really good. Um, so yeah, we stay in Florida, move on to USA. Meanwhile, obviously we spent the entire week in Florida, and that brings us to our review of the oval race, um, where you and I got absolutely destroyed in the same exact caution.
yep, that was fun.
I think the race overall was pretty good. Um,
Oh yeah.
Especially that long green flag run at the end. It was 20 something ish laps, almost 30 laps.
Mm.
Um, I felt like that was a really good green flag run, definitely one that we needed. We started off with the first 15 laps green too. We never really got to see like a
Yeah,
field strategy, but that wreck, I kind of want to talk about it, but I kind of don't want to talk about it.
yeah. There was two big ones, I think, and then the last lap chaos. Unfortunately, I got involved in two of those three, but and I think
I think I got
I
involved
think
in
you
three
only
of the
got involved
three,
in
or no, two of the
yeah
three, because I,
maybe
I wasn't there on the last one, on the last lap.
right
Yeah, no, the
yeah
first the first big one. So all the admins were in a call together, and I had Nick
as
behind me,
yes
and Nick he wasn't really pushing me, but he was behind me, and I saw them wrecking, and I said, Nick, check up. And sure enough, Nick absolutely pounds my rear bumper in, which made for a great time when I, with all of my genius, decided, what if I try to lead the field with a back bumper that is not straight? And I felt really bad for Hunter Collier. Hunter, if you're watching, I'm sorry that I subjected you to pushing me because my bumper was not straight and dude was turning me
see
half the time we were
see
leading.
but he didn't turn you though.
No, he
What
did really
actually
good.
caused the yellow that took you out was a little bit of a different story, and you were kind of just an innocent bystander. Um, but
I felt really good. I felt like I was one of the best pushers in the
getting wrecked,
race.
you felt
Well,
really
no,
good
no,
getting wrecked.
okay, okay. Before getting wrecked, I feel like I was one of the best pushers in the race. Like I was rewatching the replay, with on Kenneth's broadcast, and there was a time I got shuffled back to the third car on the inside line. I jumped back up to the outside line, and then I was behind Garrett, and I linked up with Garrett, and we cleared the field entering one on the straightaway. I was all over his bumper, but then when I jumped to the outside to try to lead it with my teammates Ryan Martin and Henry Clappert, good lord, we might be the worst team in existence for plate treks. I might as well be a solo guy. Ryan, Henry, I love you guys. But Ryan just, I don't know if he was playing keep away from touching my back bumper at all, but I don't think he touched me once except for when he was running over me after Marsden decided to eat my left rear. So, and then
Yeah,
Henry bailed.
yeah.
Just my
I
luck.
think the one time I was near you guys, I caught up to Henry's back bumper, and then 2 corners later, I proceeded to get wrecked.
Dude,
So
yeah,
yeah,
you.
maybe I'm gonna stay away from you guys in
No,
the
no,
future
listen,
play
it
tracks.
was not my fault. I blame 100% of it.
Okay,
I'm blame Paul because Paul didn't have a front bumper. Okay.
okay, I blame Paul because he's Paul. But moving on, let's dive into our finishing results for the race at Daytona. Jay Mulder comes home with the win, a big night for him. He got very drunk afterwards and was very excited with his performance. That's his first ever real WORC race win. Um, after we don't really count his sprint car win in Phoenix, where he disqualified the rest of the field. But moving on, Chris Downey comes home second. Sky McGurk in third with his second podium of the week. Good nights for all three of those guys. The rest of the top 10 consists of Michael Walls, Garrett White, Ryan Zabot, John Canizaro, Hunter Collier, Ethan Workman, and Jarek Hernandez. All of them getting very solid nights tonight. John Canizaro, his third top 10 of the week, as well as Sky McGurk coming home with his second top 10 of the week. But that's really the only noticeable drivers from the entire first week of WARC. But some of the more noticeable guys from last season was Garrett White coming in with the top five. He was the Final Four contender last season. And Ethan Workman, who was the previous Dynamo Designs National Series race winner at Homestead, comes home ninth. So good night for both of those guys, as well as everyone inside of the top 10.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. It's always good to start off your season with a good finish at Daytona. I don't know what that feels like. Um, every
P30, baby.
dude,
Woo!
the last season's Daytona race, that was pretty rough for me too. I got wrecked by Henry. So
No
yeah.
surprises.
So yeah. I guess with that, we've kind of reviewed the week. Um, moving on to next week, Sunday, we go to Road Atlanta. Road Atlanta last season was the finale of the GT3 series, and we started like 22 cars, I think it was. It's a pretty decent car count. Racing for the lead was really good between you and Canizaro. Canizaro
I
ended up
remember
getting
that.
you in the last couple corners, but you don't want to lose any more races in the last couple corners. You just lost one in the last corner at Daytona. Well, pretty much the last corner at Daytona. You lost one in the
Yeah,
bus
it's the
stop.
last corner.
So what do you plan on doing here to try to bring home the win at Road Atlanta?
Being faster, I guess. At the time of recording this, it's Saturday night, so looking towards tomorrow's race. Probably put in a couple laps of practice. Maybe spend those 30-minute practice or the 30 minutes I'll get in practice actually practicing. Um, but besides that, I mean, you're faced with a guy like Canizaro who's good at pretty much anything, and you're going to be in for a good fight, as well as all the other people who you see come in and race now and then. Like Parker White should be fast if he shows up. Gino Mero and guys like that. So I think it'll be a good show regardless, especially for the lead. But it doesn't mean you should count out the racing throughout the entire field because usually in road racing, there's always somebody. There's always going to be somebody who's racing somebody else. You might see Paul and Henry battling for last, but it might be the best battle on the track. So, I think it'll be good racing regardless, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing if I'm only good at Daytona or if I can somehow manage to figure out any other track on the schedule. So we're gonna start at Road Atlanta,
Yeah,
and
well, top five is a good start, so you
yeah,
got to continue that momentum.
I'm not finishing higher than 10th. I'm gonna blow turn one. If not, then I'm gonna blow a chicane, or I'm just gonna blow something at Road Atlanta. I suck at road courses. Yeah, I'm really excited. I like Road Atlanta. The long straightaway heading into the chicane is always really fun. So, um, super excited for that.
For sure.
The Limeade Media Dirt Late Model Tour goes to USA. Um, the Gaming Chef not going to be available for that one, so we're going to have Gangcast come on and broadcast that one for us
Gamecast.
before the Thanksgiving break. And so thanks to him for hopping on. And yeah, USA. I'm not ever very good at USA, but I feel like the racing that we've had at work in workers at USA has been really good. even back to the dirt modified tour, the battle for the lead came down to the last corner. Those dudes were borderline wrecking each other for it. Um, in the late models last season, we ended up with USA because Port Royal didn't release in time, and that was actually a fairly good race. There was a lot of complaints. People were like, "Why are we running USA? Why are we running USA?" I'm like, "It's kind of the best track available. It's like down to like USA versus Weed Sport. I'm like, we're gonna run USA." And
And now we did USA because we didn't care to do Lucas Oil.
yeah, I'm a little disappointed about that, but yeah,
I'm not.
USA um, through the Dirt Mod Tour came down to the last corner. In the midgets, I don't want to talk about it, but that one it also came down to the last corner, and now we're in the late models. And last season's race was pretty good, so hoping to see USA continue the trend of being really good. When that track slicks off, it goes all the way to the outside wall. So, but it's not like an Eldora outside wall type track. It's raceable. So, I'm kind of curious to see how all that falls in and see if the car count stays steady from last week and just kind of see what happens. See if Henry makes an A main for once.
Yeah. I feel like USA is one of those tracks that's always kind of critically underrated. Like
Hmm.
I feel like USA, nobody really has any expectations going into it for kind of being any kind of a good race, and then it always kind of is a good race. So it's almost to the point where now you're expecting a good race, and then if you don't get one, then it's what I mean. But
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get a good race regardless. Hopefully we'll see Henry in the A main, even though that is very unlikely. But looking to get a good amount of cars. We would like to see a full field, and that should be doable, especially with USA being a free track. I'm sure some of those guys who aren't as committed to the dirt schedule come out because it's a free track instead of Volusia. Um, so yeah, it should be a good car count, should be a good race, and USA should make for a fun night.
Yeah. So moving on to the Oval Series, the Dynamo Designs National Series heads to Las Vegas at night. We're very specific about our races being at night. Um, so Las Vegas at night. We love racing under the lights here in WORC. Any track that has lights, we're racing under the lights. So um, that should be super fun. I really like Las Vegas. I'm glad to get to the 1.5s. Love the 1.5s in these B cars, and I feel like it's gonna be the best chance for people to really get a good feel of how they're gonna be this season because Daytona's Daytona. It's a wild card race. You get to Las Vegas. There's some lifting. There's some actual racing involved in that one. I not to say that there's no racing involved at Daytona, but Las Vegas should be kind of the first glimpse at what this season's going to look like for a lot of guys. I expect to see your usual Garrett White, Gino Mero, Ethan Workman type guys running up front. I expect to see your usual Henry Clapperts, Lath Hicks in the back. So so yeah.
Violate Lath like that.
Sorry, Lath.
Dang, bro.
So yeah, what are your thoughts on Las Vegas?
I feel like Las Vegas is very much of a baseline type of track. Like it is your very stereotypical 1.5 mile. The groove's gonna be on the bottom. It's either in that first or
You
second
want to bet?
lane. You'll be able to. I mean,
I'll put my right rear
I'm
on the wall,
I'm
buddy.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure it won't work out too well. But
Don't you test
I
me.
I could see somebody going up and trying the middle, but I don't think it's really going to be there. I feel like you're only really going to make the outside anything work if you got some car on your inside. Because I know if you're in the middle, it's usually good enough to defend a spot or get by somebody if they're in traffic. But I don't know. I feel like Las Vegas being the 1.5 mile that it is, really going to see, how your season's actually going to play out as we have, I'd say the majority of tracks on 1.5 miles. So, just having a baseline like this early in the season is really, really good to see kind of where everyone's going to shake out and get a good, preseason or pretty later in the season kind of feel for what the competition's going to be like and where everyone's going to sit.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go run the top. Think I won't?
I'm sure you'll try
Think I won't? I'll run the top in qualifying.
and
I mean,
qualify 30th.
it's not like I do that any differently if I run the actual racing line. I might as well do
Yeah.
something fun with it.
Qualify 40th.
Could you imagine if like the top is actually like the fastest lane and I find it first, unironically?
See, I feel like I've had races where like you run like 3/4 of the way up the track and it actually works. So I mean, it could, which means I'm almost curious to see what it does do then, because
Well,
I
if you see me passing you in the first 10 laps, it's working. If you don't see
if
me at
I see
all,
you passing me, I'm putting you in the wall. No, but yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see who tries the outside stacks up on a track like Las Vegas. So it should be a good trendsetter. It should be a good baseline. It should be a good way to lead in the rest of the season.
yeah, well, I think with that, that pretty much clears out our to-do list for today's Work Weekly. Do you have anything else to say before we thank the sponsors?
I just want to give everyone that came out this week a big shout out and a big thank you, because without all you drivers, I'm not too sure how many different people showed up, but I'm pretty sure it's in probably the 70s or 80s.
93.
93 total people
Yeah,
or total cars.
total cars. I mean,
Okay.
it's probably about
All right.
60 or so.
Yeah. So, and with however many of you, 60, 70, and everyone who plans to come out for the rest of the season, we want to thank you, because obviously we couldn't do this, or we want to do this without all your support and all of your effort to come out and race with us. So, big thank you there. Thanks for
Yeah,
listening to the podcast, by the way.
yeah. So first episode got off to a bang. So Henry and Paul aren't on this one. So who knows if we
Probably
won't.
not as
Dude, if we
entertaining,
don't
but
have any views on this, I'm getting those two on because I mean it's just
if we get enough support, it'll be a Paul and Henry only podcast
dude,
next week.
dude, Paul and Henry only. Oh my gosh, dude. I could already imagine it now. Paul would be like, "Yeah,
How many likes do I gotta get on this
I,
video?
I felt really fast at the Douglas. Paul, shut up. You ran last."
Yeah,
Gonna
that's
be
pretty much
great.
how it would go.
Gonna be great.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Get 50 likes on this video, and we'll do that next week.
we don't even have Henry to. Dude, I'll do it without 50 likes. I'll do it just to do it, buddy. Um,
When this
yeah,
video gets 50 likes, the next one will be a Paul and Henry only
you
podcast.
don't have to get 50 likes. I promise. We'll get it going. We'll get it going. I'll make
We'll
that.
see. We'll see what happens.
Um, But yeah, we don't even have Henry to read the sponsors. I guess I got to do it. So thanks to apparently our new sponsor, Dynamic Duos Designs. Thanks to Henry
Thank you,
for
Henry.
letting us know about that one. Dynamo Designs doesn't exist. It's Dynamic Duos. Limeade Media
Dynamic
for
duos.
sponsoring the Limeade Media Dirt Late Model Tour.
Beyond the lights as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Beyond the Lights coming out. November 20th is the first episode. Go check it out on the Limeade Media YouTube channel. And Keystone Corner, sponsoring the Keystone Corner GT3 Challenge. Keystone Corner might become a guest on the podcast here in the next couple of weeks, so be on the lookout for that one. But yeah, thank you everyone
I
for tuning
also
in. Go ahead,
quick.
Josh.
I'd also like to thank all three of the broadcasters for this upcoming week and coming with us. That being the Gaming Chef, Gangcast, and Hey Bueno Racing Network. So thank you to all three of you guys as well. I'm sure less people
Oh
would
yeah.
come if you didn't stream.
Oh, I mean,
So
dude,
thank you.
the gaming chef never broadcasts an racing race. He's getting the gist of it. And then Kenneth, as
Yeah, he's doing
always,
well.
absolutely like crazy phenomenal. I don't know. I heard him doing that interview, man, and he told Jay, he's like, yeah, you're the 11th series winner, and I'm like, dude, I didn't even know something like that. Like, dude looks up the
Yeah,
stats, dude memorizes stuff in his head. It's awesome. So, um,
yeah.
you
And of
know,
course, I'm excited to see what the Gangcast does
oh
this
yeah,
upcoming Tuesday.
he's done a couple broadcasts for us. He's done a couple broadcasts for some other leagues like GGR and stuff. So, thanks to him for filling in, and we're excited to see what he produces on Tuesday. But yeah,
For sure.
thank you everyone for tuning in to episode number 2 of Work Weekly. And we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week for Work Weekly episode 3 after we get out of Road Atlanta, USA, and Las Vegas. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is Brayson Collins, Josh Patterson signing off.